Very
I'm that girl who's having an upgrade. Fantastic times. um, so what does it really mean, you may ask? Well, for let's just say muggles, for the muggles in our lives, it sounds like we've got a cold, right? I'm in that mood where I just feel this heightened sense of joy, while also feeling like one side of me, my right now, is having a massive purging. So I sort of think, well, fantastic. Let's figure out metaphysical perspectives rather than labeling myself as having a cold or a flu or a virus or some sort of monkeypox. um, choices, choices, choices. So, I can feel into what's going on, and I might do that later, but I want to get to the point of messaging you with my voice and my hands today. So fantastic times, super busy with sessions to be able to support our amazing soul family members who are here on earth. Blessings. So a fantastic thing to be reminded of, to learn all of the above. Jealousy. Now, before I talk about jealousy, the jelly monster within us, maybe the devil, depending on how we want to perceive it, it all comes down to how we were taught love, right? So how were you exposed to love when you first started being human? This lifetime, and maybe other lifetimes, it could still impact you. So how do we feel what love is? And could it be said that if we have an assumption that loving ourselves is like how our parents loved us, for example, well, for some people, they're out. I'm not going to love myself like that. That would be abusive. And so let's explore it. What is love? How do you feel love? What do you do to show love, to give love, and to feel love within self? It's a big one, isn't it? Because it seems like that's the real sticking point. People, like, I hear you say it all the time. It means nothing to me. It sounds like algebra, Joe. I'm not interested. I'm out. And I get it. So let's feel into what true feeling of love is. Like source love energy, right? It's so heightened. You're giggly with love and effervescences, and you've got massive passion and inspiration to go, go, go. There's nothing stopping you apart from, your mindsets or your choices. So that pure love frequency. Sometimes people get triggered into that feeling of love when they either look back at puppies and kittens or something really cutesy where that innocent puppy and kitten has not told you about your fat pants and haven't judged you. They're innocent and pure, so you can love them because they're safe to love them because they're not judging past choices. So anyway, hang on. So when we see something that's pure and innocent, we know it's safe to love because we're just admiring its beauty and we're having gratitude. It's just like when we see butterflies or beautiful flowers or something that is just marvelous. When we stop and notice it, we can feel a gratitude, which is a form of love. And we could love a favorite meal and the look of a favorite meal. We could love a favorite dress or something like that you know we have no limitations or expectations on the way we feel about it. We just appreciate it and love it all. And so, what if you've been taught that love, then if you love something, then you own it, right? I love you. Bags, you're it. Got you forever. You're mine. This is quite common for parents to believe and have the attitude and approach that their children are owned by them. You came out of me. I created you. I am your God. And I'm going to live vicariously through you while I force you to do things that are my needs and not your own, or something like that. So, how were you shown and taught love? as a child. Now we know that we can say, oh, well, that was years ago, Joe. Does it mean anything today? What if it does? What if it does? What if we were taught that to feel loved by someone was to accept an exchange of ownership, and that we were property? They loved us, so we were their property, and we had to honor and obey their rules, their abuse, potentially, maybe, their inner work, everything. And it becomes quite an interesting codependency relationship when you want to keep pleasing someone to get their love. And, this is really what we know from metaphysics is, when people aren't loving you, fantastic, love yourself, right? Completely love yourself. But when we feel that their love is very important and we must meet their standards, their expectations, and comply to everything that they want from us, even if it violates our bodies, even if it violates our minds, oh, look at my voice. Some of you are still not speaking your truth of when you were a victim and you loved your parents so much. You would never want to look back at those times where your parents made interesting choices. Or, your parents trusted others that they may not have, should have trusted them with you. I feel like this purging, this detoxing has got something to do with speaking your truth, hearing the truth, and feeling the truth. And you can still love someone who has done dreadful things to you. And that is the hard thing, isn't it? When you have complete compassion and unconditional love for all, and you may have found that you're in an abusive relationship, can happen to many people. And I also want to sort of question, and I'd love, if this is not true for you, let me know, because this would be fantastic to explore. Someone who's never had physically or mentally been violated. I'm not laughing at the violation, but I sort of feel like we all have this inner hurt that's so deep within us. We just assume no one talks about this because it's never happened to anyone else. It's just me, my shame, my history, and I don't think anyone will understand. And so you don't want to speak about it because you have an assumption that this has never happened to anyone else. And while you don't want to get stuck into victim mentality because you know that everything is purposeful for lessons of growth and the human experience, knowing that your guides are very much there to protect you. And if there is something you're not supposed to dive into, the memory will be taken away from you. So that being said, if you do have a memory of something and you're hoping that it gets taken away from you, maybe that is a sign that your inner work is still needing to be just explored a little bit to nurture and heal yourselves. We all know we use sugar as a treat for our inner child. So if we've still got the sugar treat bug and addiction, where is that hurt inner child within you, begging for you to love it and respect it and honor it and protect it potentially? And so we can go back and talk to that inner child, and we can heal that inner child because we're always there. It's always within us. It's almost like saying we're that multidimensional being. But in this lifetime, with time not being linear, it's still all occurring. The inner child hurts are still within us because it is us. We are them. And so it gets a little bit convoluted, but super significant to explore it. Some of you are still holding back to acknowledge some of the trauma you've gone through because it's so painful that you think if you bring it back and think about it today, it will just bottom out your frequency. My friends, it's still within you, and potentially it is always bottoming out your frequency. And so because you're holding that density, that trauma, it has to be released. You have to purge it, you have to release it. You have to do something to be able to forgive others, forgive yourselves, to love others, to love self, and to be able to understand what the heck was that for? What was the purpose and significance of that subconscious? Explain yourself to us. Because, you were on watch, you were in guard. Tell us what was going on there. You can get great answers and perspectives from the subconscious in sessions because, they are responsible for us as we're having these fantastic 3D human lives. So I haven't heard a subconscious say, oh, well, I was actually at lunch when that was occurring to you. So sorry about it. It hasn't. The best thing about dealing with advanced beings is that they're fully responsible and they're fully honest and they take all accountability. And I think this is somewhat of a block for people. It's all fine being the victim, right? Oh, he did this to me, she did that to me, blah, 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 blah. Very true, very valid. But when we start unpacking it in our work and we realize, oh, that time when we did something to them, that comes at a higher level of maturity, right? Because we actually have to be responsible for those times we were not. So when we were only playing those roles of triggering people and ourselves to feel into it, a lot of people assume that, say, someone who abused someone, he abused me. And so that person still has this belief system that the abuser is like, ha ha ha, fantastic, was amazing. I loved every moment of it. I feel so proud of myself. Because actually, when we explore it, the subconscious will say that was when they got broken because they couldn't forgive themselves for what they've done. And they started using alcohol more, drugs more, self-abuse more, self-hatred more, all of this sort of stuff. Here we are thinking that they're living fantastic because they loved being that bully, and ultimately they hated having that experience, so much so that they didn't understand the lessons about it. Of course, they would never do it again, or maybe they're still doing it again, and they're going through it. We have to have compassion for those people who are still making those interesting choices, because as we know, that density of guilt and karma and all that sort of stuff just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, we could say that about the consciousness of certain countries that have consistently invaded other countries. When you do something to others, you're afraid it's going to be done back to you, right? So much to be said about that. So anyway, getting back to today's topic, love. Are you afraid to love people because you know that jealousy monster is going to come out and you're going to start possessing and owning everyone? I mean, it doesn't just happen with like sexual relationships. I can see friends becoming very jealous of each other. But I'm your best friend. No, you're my best friend. We're all friends, right? We're all brothers and sisters. But so where is your sticking points for loving? And is this holding you back? Because potentially, if you know you are this jelly monster, because if I love someone, that means I own them, and then they can, they must comply to all of my demands and needs. And for them to not comply to my demands and needs means that they don't love me. And so what are we putting our conditions on ourselves and others when we label it as love? That love is unconditional. So is there any conditions potentially, maybe? And even if it is in the past, it's always good to recognize the times that we did that and figure out, well, when were we the big jelly monsters and where did that come from? What did I learn from it? And all that sort of stuff. So it's incredible how we can use and misuse love. And if there are people dangling their approval and love on you, if you just have to jump all their hoops and comply to their demands and requirements and blah, 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 blah. This is when it sort of seems like love can be blind, because when we want to love someone, we don't have those boundaries as much as we would. So that's when we get overused, abused, and a whole lot of sort of stuff. I mean, the fantastic thing about being an adult is that we know amazing body language. but not really that. But, like we can tell when we're being manipulated. We can tell when we are being coerced into something that is not really fulfilling their egos. Amazing to be able to feel into what people's integrity and intentions are, even if they're saying love and light and they're not feeling that, and you can read into that. It's very interesting when we have empathic skills. It's great to be able to know how to use them properly. That's for sure. And while we know it's not encouraging and inspiring and truly loving people to judge them, criticize them, mock them, we still have to assert our balance and neutral and empower them to find for themselves and to learn for themselves. And when people are needing too much from us, when we know they're very capable of doing it for themselves, this is a great tool for us and time for us to be able to encourage and inspire them to go with it. And, when we change quite rapidly, because we are all changing quite rapidly, those friends who would always come over, for a big conversation where they would just, talk our ears off about all their problems, and they don't want it to be fixed. They just want to repeat the problems because they feel like they're getting attention for having problems and they're not wanting to grow. We could listen to them forever, and inspiring them to ask them, what is this serving them? What is, how are you going to make different choices now? Reminding people that they choose the way they feel can be very frustrating for them, because when you're just stuck in victim mode, the only option that they will ever believe is that there can only be victim mode. That's a choice. It's just like people who are empaths who say, people drain you. People drain you. Don't deal with people. They drain you. Avoid them. But aren't we here? And empaths, aren't we here to feel into them, to be able to not absorb their frequency of density? Maybe we can, but know that we're holding space for them, holding the energy for them as they are healing and expressing themselves, while we are guiding them with conversations to keep asking, where do you feel like that reaction came from? Why do you think they behave like this? Questioning rather than telling them is always important, I think. But, sometimes our friends are so hyper reactive. They need to remember to breathe. They need to remember to love themselves and identify what their value of love and their understanding of love is. So it's fascinating times, but it's our responsibility to ground ourselves. It's our responsibility to balance ourselves, keep ourselves in neutral. And if we're feeling other people's energies, that does feel quite foreign. I know when I'm preparing for a session, I can merge into someone's energy field and can feel all their fun angsts, and I could mistake it and recognize it as, oh, what's up with me today? Why am I feeling like this? When really I'm just merging into the energy fields to be able to completely recognize what's going on for them, so I can discuss it with them for them to be able to have their epiphanies. Fun times, right? So it's so important to know if this is our energy. Is this our mood? Suddenly we have this massive rage. I can feel this massive rolling of rage and anger, and it's quite intensive. And so when I ask about what on earth is that, because I'm just doing my normal dishwasher life, and sorting out the kids, and then suddenly I'll just have this big wave of emotion. It sort of comes from nowhere, and it kind of goes quite quickly as well. But it's really interesting to feel into. It's like a pulse of higher frequency that has come, and then the ripple out effect of that is pushing out the density. Also, if we are getting like criticism or judgment, or a lot of stress from our friends, and they're trying to make us feel their density by either trying to put us down so we can lower our frequency to match what they're going through. Remember, don't take it personally. They're showing you their hurts, they're showing you their insecurities. And you know yourself, you know how fantastic you are. And if any times that you have been not so fantastic and you sort of feel guilty about it, while you forgive yourselves, you could make amends by, confessing to your friends, actually, that time I did that didn't feel fantastic for me. So, owning my shit is fantastic times, right? So when you have confessed to your friends, and then, it's fantastic to be honest with your friends. And it feels like, sometimes you don't want to burden your friends with your feelings. But again, they are not responsible for your feelings, just like you're not responsible for their feelings. And so if you do know of a friend who wants to just help you and give you all their advice and opinions, and you need to vent to them, but you don't want the opinions and the advice, then express that to them at the beginning. I'm going to just share something with you that I'm feeling a bit vulnerable with. I would like to be able to just sound it out, and I love for you to just be able to listen so I can hear myself and for you to hear what's going on. And I just want to sort of vent and ramble for a bit. And when I feel like I've completed that and purged out all of the expression, I've purged out all the senses of the expressions that I'm feeling within me, then can we have a conversation about it? But I just sort of feel like I just need this big monologue, and sort of ask them permission to be able to just listen to you. Friends love being able to have roles to be able to support when they know what you're asking from them. Some of my friends might need to come to my house with some duct tape so I can just listen and not not jump in to try and help them as fast as I can, because it's so hard when you see your friends in so much pain, deep grief, as if they're never going to see that soul again, deep grief because they can't understand about the state of the world. Their emotions are real, and we really can feel them instantly. So, you may be just sitting there with with deep breaths and lots of water, just absorbing lots of water and just hearing and not reacting. You love them. And all you're needing to do right now is just listen. Don't feel, don't absorb, but just listen. In my opinion, take it or leave it. So yes, love and how we respond to love and the conditioning of how we learned what love is. And if we're afraid that we're going to be little jelly monsters again and have full ownership of the new guy, girl, whatever we want to love, could it be said that if we know we've got this tendency to have ownership of our lovers, even our friends, this is fantastic work for us because we deserve relationships. But if we are not wanting to go into a relationship because we know that we're not so stable with our approaches to deep affection and relationships and all that stuff, whatever is stopping you, whatever you're noticing in your minds when we have this great epiphany, this inspiration, and then the little devil on our shoulder is saying, oh, but you don't have any money for that. Oh, you're not trained in that. Oh, you won't be good at that. Oh, no, that sounds hard. Or what if people don't like you? Or what if someone judges you for that? Or what if someone gets mad if you do that? Listen to what that little devil on your shoulder, that little handbrake of joy is saying to you. And then recognize, is that your mum and dad? Is that your teacher? Is that your coworker? Is that you? Where have you picked up these sort of less than inspirational? Go for it. You're amazing, regardless of whatever you do. If you have joy in your heart and if you are so inspired to do anything, do it. How could you fail? How could you fail at doing something you just have so much passion, inspiration, and joy and drive for? It's not possible. And then Could it be said if you don't even try that, then that is a guaranteed fail because you haven't even explored it? And so, what is the fear? What is the fear behind it? I know from my own experiences having a lot of fear about doing this channel. Even sharing the conversations with Heaven on Earth was quite a big step for me because I was scared that the information coming from sessions is what other people were saying too, because it was too much for me to process at that time. So there's that. So, and we can be momentarily afraid and freak out and overcome it within seconds. So, this is a fantastic time to explore everything. If we think about the past traumas, we will not then relive the full past traumas. I've already experienced that pain. It's already within us. Now it's about getting it out of us, identifying it, unpacking it, loving it, and releasing it. Fantastic, right? Of course, it's always easier to say it, but you can literally do it at that speed if you are willing to let go of the pain and willing to be in balance. There was no good guy, there was no bad guy, it was an experience. Of course, when you're going through it, you definitely had labels, and rightfully so. So for some people still, when you truly were a victim, you don't want to see yourself as a victim. You're too afraid to acknowledge, I was a victim then. We have these experiences with real labels, the victim, the abuser, and whichever one we played, all experiences. And again, our guides are watching us, saying, this is going to be fantastic for your soul's journey and growth. If you learn from it, if you understand the purpose and significance of it. Life, fantastic, right? Okay, I'm just going to pause myself, have a drink, and then I will be right back. So as I was pausing the Zoom meeting to have a drink, I accidentally pushed stop. Everything's purposeful. So I continued on in another video, and I'll just somehow merge them together. I might have to find a new application to do it, but I'm brave. I'm not afraid of technology. So anyway, what they said to me was this: do another video, which I'm doing now, and merge in between the two, because they are still saying to you, reach out to her. So reach out to me. Some of you are still shy or whatever is going on for you, and they are really inviting you, and I am inviting you to reach out to me if you need to just have ears to listen to something that's going on for you. Don't be shy, and I'm here. So, I get a lot done each day, and I'm very willing to be able to connect in, to be able to have a Zoom meeting with you, to be able to hear what's going on for you. And I can, of course, just listen, but I also can share my perspective. And, I like to share my metaphysical perspectives from what I've heard from all the hundreds of sessions I've done. So if you want a private chat with me, don't be shy. I'm here for you always. And so know that. I will send you, I will put an email link in the description. And so it's no more time to struggle. It's no more time to feel alone. You've done that. It feels crappy. So reach out to me if you need support in any which way. And I'm here for it. Okay. I'll see if I can merge this all in. You'll know if it's successful, because the next video or the next part of this, I'm channeling. Okay. Bye, my friends. So I'm going to do a channeling to be able to ask my subconscious what the heck's happening to my right side of my head. for this upgrade, or do I just have a common cold? Who knows? So I have suspicions, but it will be interesting to see what the subconscious has to say for itself. And I thought I would take you on the journey too, to be able to hear it. Because while I don't like to video myself channeling because it must look dorky, I want you to be able to understand what it always looks like when I'm channeling. I know you could have like imaginations and assumptions and stuff, and I have channeled publicly before, but it's no point in being afraid of anything. You can judge me whatever you want. But best of all, if you could listen to the information and apply it for yourself, maybe, this can help you. So yeah, or not, free will. So I'm quite comfortable with that now. So yes, we're here. And it is a significant time for you to be able to share what it looks like for us to be connecting in with you. While it could be quite boring because there's nothing that happens to the physical body, it is all about the information that we provide as we are freely running rampant through the body. We love to be able to have fun with this vehicle. And we know that it lightens up her attention because she is concerned she could be doing something wrong. This is her love language. She also felt when she was growing up, if you do something wrong, you will not be loved. And many of you have had that experience of, if you do something bad, you will not be loved. And that is not possible. We love you always and forever because it's only a human experience. You do not fall from grace. There is nothing you could do on human earth that could make us not love you. It is not possible. We will never divorce you from love. And yet your human experiences have taught you to be afraid. If you do something that is bad, you will not be granted love. You can see this through your religions. You can see this through your peer pressure, that there is conditions to make you comply. It goes bigger than just parents. It goes bigger than that. The teachers will ostracize children if they're not complying, and children qualify and quantify attention as love. And so they are very needy of support and attention to be able to make sure they're on path, that what they're doing is, in quotation marks, good. We would love for you all to look and reflect on your journey with love on earth, even though it is nothing compared to the source life energy that you are used to frequently exploring and enjoying. The purpose of being on earth is to experience the full range of emotions, the denser emotions and the higher frequency emotions. And we say some of you are so lacking in being able to find source life energy that even a substitute of love, which could even be jealousy of love and possessions of others through love, could be what you would assume is a higher frequency love, because it's much more denser, it's much more better than the density of feeling rejected and alone. Even though it's all very layered and connected, your emotional roller coaster can feel all the ranges of emotions in a single hour. And so it is about exploring all and noticing behaviors, noticing reactions, noticing belief systems of what love is. And so the vehicle wanted to ask us about the left side of her head feeling very pressurized and having an infection of the ears. It's about releasing the pain from the verbal abuse of lack of love, words, the throat holding back, as you may have experienced conflict with others. You think the words you would go to say to stand up for yourselves, but you don't speak the words in fear of more lack of love. And so you burn the ears with the words. You hold on to your own words and block them in response. It is an upgrade that most are experiencing now. We are wanting you to have a finer attunement and sense to ears, as we want you to feel emotions from others as they are speaking them to you. We are wanting you to open your throats in response to speaking back to them. It's a clearing and detoxing from some senses that are still in your physical bodies. We are going through and releasing the tension in the ears. Some of you have tried to block out hearing because the words are so painful. And so there is cleansing, there is balancing, there is healing. It could also be said that some of you haven't liked your own words you've said to others. And so it's all a collection of the words you've heard and the words you've shared. All is well as we are clearing and healing. This is not just for the vehicle. This is for many. And we're using this opportunity to share with you all what you can do to your bodies in defense and protection. All is well. All is well. It felt like the healing was done from other beings that weren't a Victorian. I almost want to say like a mantis being. Anyway, fun times. Okay, well, I can feel a huge release from that. And it's about just healing and nurturing and being kind to ourselves as we take full responsibility of our choices and respect other people's choices. That was giving them an opportunity to grow and learn from as well. So, fun times, friends. Have a fantastic day. Drink lots of water. And remember that QHHT interns are free and they would love your support. Bye.